I always thought the moment my daughter's voice broke would be quieter. But on New Year's Eve, in a ballroom full of strangers, Olivia's scream split the air like glass shattering. She stood on stage in front of hundreds, smiling like she owned the night. Her silver dress caught every spotlight as she held up the polished gift box with the neat handwriting on top. From Mom. People clapped, expecting a sentimental story or something she could use to get a laugh at my expense. Olivia lived for moments like that. She said, "Let's see what my mother sent me," in that syrupy tone she used when she wanted everyone's attention. Then she tore the lid off. The smile fell first. She stared into the box, not moving. I imagined the moment her eyes found the first page, the letterhead, the stamped dates, the signature she had put on documents she never expected to see again. Someone near the stage asked, "Liv, what is it?" She didn't answer. She lifted a single sheet with trembling fingers, read the title, and turned pale. Power of Attorney Draft. Prepared without consent. The words were big enough for the guests in the front row to read before she could speak. The small USB in the corner of the box blinked once. The projector behind her lit up on its own. Her mock intervention script filled the wall in giant letters. The room fell dead still. A man whispered, "Is that real?" Olivia stumbled back from the screen, her breath catching. Then the scream came raw, high. Nothing like the polished woman she pretended to be. "Oh my God! What is this?" Her phone buzzed in her hand. Caller ID. "Mom," she answered with a shaking breath. "Where are you? What did you do?" I sat in my tiny Tucson kitchen, the one with the uneven tile floor and the fridge that hummed louder when it was tired, and said softly, "Did you like my gift?" She didn't respond. I could hear only her panicked breathing. 10 days earlier, none of this existed. Not the box, not the slides, not the fear in her voice. Back then, I was just a mother driving to a family dinner, still believing my daughter loved me in her own complicated way. I left Tucson just before dusk, telling myself this dinner might mend something between us. Olivia had sounded almost warm in her message. And after 72 years on this earth, I still believed my daughter could surprise me in the right direction. When I arrived at her Scottsdale house, Olivia barely looked up from her phone. "You made it," she said, already turning toward the dining room. No hug, no smile. Ethan nodded politely. Noah gave me a quick, guilty glance and pulled out my chair. Dinner started with forced compliments about the roast and Olivia's upcoming New Year's event. She thrived on praise, especially with her friends around. "This year's party will be unforgettable," she said, tapping her wine glass with a manicured finger. "Everyone who matters will be there." I tried to join in. "It sounds like a lot of work." "Liv," she shrugged. "Well, some of us enjoy being productive." Her friend, Lacey, laughed too loudly. "Olivia's carrying the whole family image on her back," she said. "Not everyone can keep up." Noah's fork froze midair. Ethan kept eating, eyes on his plate. I pushed through the sting. "I brought that scarf you liked, Liv, the blue one." She didn't look at me. "We'll see if I have time." The conversation flowed around me like I wasn't there. I reached for the mashed potatoes, and that was when I heard it quiet. But not quiet enough. Lacey whispered, "So, is the performance still happening?" Olivia leaned in, smiling like she was sharing gossip. "Oh, absolutely. At the New Year's party, she'll sign the papers on stage. People will die laughing." My hand stopped cold on the serving spoon. Lacey asked, "Papers, power of attorney?" Olivia murmured, "The crowd will think it's just a joke about her memory issues. She won't fight it if everyone's watching." Lacey snickered. "Brilliant." My throat burned. "Liv," I said softly, What papers are you talking about? She didn't even flinch. Mom, not now. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. Noah stared at his lap, twisting his napkin. I set my fork down. I think I should go. No one stopped me, not even the daughter I once believed would come back to me someday. I stood, walked out of that room, and felt something inside me tear as quietly as the napkin Noah was still twisting in his hands. I think I forgot my medication, I murmured. Standing from the dinner table, my voice didn't shake, but only because I'd trained myself for years not to let it. Olivia didn't even glance up. Take whatever time you need, she said, already laughing at something Lacey whispered. I walked out the door without a coat, without dessert, without my daughter asking if I was all right. The night air hit me hard, but not as hard as her voice replaying in my head. She'll sign the papers on stage. People will die laughing. I drove south on the freeway, the road nearly empty. Every mile made the words sharper, clearer, harder to lie to myself about. I pulled off near Picacho Peak and stopped the car on the shoulder. My hands were shaking too badly to grip the wheel. I covered my face and let the sobs come thick, ugly, racking. My own daughter. I whispered into the empty car. My own daughter. When I could breathe again, I fumbled for my phone and called the only person who ever told me the truth, without cruelty. Rosa picked up on the first ring. Maggie. What happened? She wants to humiliate me, I said, at her New Year's party, on stage, in front of everyone. Rosa didn't gasp or say she couldn't believe it. She just breathed in once. Tell me exactly what you heard. I repeated every word, my voice breaking twice. When I finished, Rosa said quietly, what she's planning is not love. It's theft with glitter on top. I sat there a long moment, listening to her steady breathing. I don't know what to do. Rosa, come home, she said. Then we look at every piece of paper she ever asked you to sign. I drove the rest of the way to Tucson in silence. Inside my small house, I opened the drawer where I kept my old folders. I found the loan I co-signed for Olivia years ago, the one she swore she'd pay back quickly. Then a bank notice about withdrawals I never remembered making. Then a joint account form with my shaky signature at the bottom, something she'd shoved at me just for emergencies. My chest tightened. For the first time, I felt the edges of an uglier truth pressing in. This might not have been her first betrayal. Mr. Harvey Grant had handled my taxes for nearly 20 years, long enough to know when something in my voice was wrong. When I walked into his small Tucson office the next morning, he didn't greet me with his usual jokes. He just closed the door softly behind me. Maggie, he said, tell me why you look like you didn't sleep. I sat down and placed the stack of papers on his desk. I need you to look at these. All of them. He adjusted his glasses and began sorting through the pages. This loan. This was for Olivia. Wasn't it? Yes. He nodded slowly and moved on. When he reached the second page, he paused. You didn't open this credit card. No. I whispered. I have never even seen that card. He tapped the statement with 2 fingers. The spending matches her event planning business, hotel deposits, floral vendors, catering holds. My stomach clenched. She told me she was doing better financially. He looked at me with something close to sorrow. These withdrawals in the joint account. He turned the page toward me. They're not yours. Maggie. I felt my breath slip. Harvey. How long? He flipped further, scanning quickly. Then he pulled out a thin packet with typed signatures. This is recent. A draft power of attorney with your name. He pointed to the date. Prepared months ago. My pulse thudded in my ears. She's been planning it. He didn't argue. He didn't soften it. You need an attorney. Today. The air felt thin around me, but I forced myself to stand. Can you recommend someone, Claire Benson? He said without hesitation. She knows elder law better than anyone in this city. I drove straight to Claire's office. She met me in a calm, controlled voice. the way nurses do when they're preparing you for stitches. "Tell me exactly what your daughter intended to do," she said. I repeated everything Olivia's planned to make me sign on stage. The talk about memory issues, the joke of it all. When I finished, Claire folded her hands. "That is a classic coercion setup," she said. "Humiliation creates compliance. It is not uncommon. Especially with seniors who trust their children." Shame heated my face. I thought she loved me. Claire didn't pity me. Love is not the issue here. Control is. She pulled out forms and began writing. "We will revoke every prior draft she created. We will secure the title of your house in your name only. And we will put safeguards around your accounts." Her pen kept moving as she spoke. Whatever she planned to do at that party, she will not have that power. My hands shook as I signed the first protective document. Not from fear anymore, but from something sharper, something alive. Claire spread the papers across her desk, arranging them in the order she wanted Olivia to see them: the loan misuse first, the unauthorized credit line second, and the mock intervention script printed cleanly at the very end. "Keep it simple," she said. "You want clarity, not chaos." I nodded, though my throat ached. She'll deny all of it. She can deny anything she wants. Claire replied. "The documents speak louder." I sat beside her, helping slide each page into a binder. Every sheet felt like a piece of bone snapping off an old version of me, the version that always forgave, always excused, always looked away. When the binder was finished, Claire handed me a blank sheet of thick cream paper. "Write what you want her to read first." My fingers trembled as I uncapped my pen. I wrote slowly, letting each word settle into the page. "You plan to embarrass me into silence." I learned to speak louder. I set the pen down, unable to breathe for a moment. "Maggie," Claire said gently, "you're not being cruel. You're protecting yourself." Before I could respond, there was a knock at my front door. I opened it to find Noah standing there, hoodie pulled tight around his face. His eyes were red. "Grandma," he whispered, I need to show you something." He stepped inside and handed me his phone. On the screen was a screenshot of a group chat Olivia's friends teasing about the hilarious moment when I would be brought on stage. Someone had written, "Make sure she signs. Pretend it's part of the show." My stomach twisted. But Noah looked worse. I didn't know how bad it was. He said, "I'm sorry. I didn't say anything at dinner because she scares me sometimes." I cupped his cheek. "Noah, you saw wrong and chose right. That's all that matters." He sagged with relief. That night, I placed the binder, my letter, and a small USB drive into a simple, elegant wooden box. No ribbon, no decoration, just weight, real, undeniable weight. The kind Olivia would never be able to laugh away. New Year's Eve arrived without glitter or champagne. I spent it at Rose's kitchen table in Tucson, eating warm pozole and listening to an old vinyl record crackle through her speakers. She watched me quietly, ladling another scoop into my bowl. "You do not owe her your presence tonight," she said. "I know," I answered, though part of me still felt the familiar pull, the part of me that had spent 40 years stepping in to fix whatever Olivia broke. At 8 o'clock, my phone buzzed with a text from Claire Courier confirmed. "The box is on site." I exhaled slowly. "It's done." Rosa touched my hand. "Good. Now let their choices walk toward them." I stayed until almost 10, then drove home, wanting the quiet. My house felt still, grounded. The opposite of the glittering storm happening in Scottsdale. Near 11, the phone rang. Olivia's name flashed across the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. Her voice hit me like a slap. "Where are you?" I leaned against the counter. "Good evening. Olivia, do not play games with me," she hissed. "You're supposed to be on stage in 15 minutes. People are waiting. The whole room is expecting you." "I'm not coming," I said, You will get in your car right now, she demanded. Do you hear me? Everything is already set up. You just have to sign the papers. And I'm right where I need to be. I cut in softly. There was a beat of silence. What is that supposed to mean? I could hear music pounding behind her, the sharp edge of her panic rising. I lowered my voice. Did you like my gift? What gift? What are you talking about? Her words snapped off mid-sentence. Someone must have been calling her name. The tension in her breath crackled through the line. Mom, if you've ruined something, that box. I said calmly, open it. She sucked in a breath like she'd been splashed with cold water. What did you do? I told the truth. I said. She mumbled something I couldn't make out, then hung up abruptly. The line went dead, leaving only the hum of my old refrigerator in the room. I set the phone down on the counter. My hands were steady for the first time in days. The video clips I watched later never captured the exact moment the room shifted, but Noah described it to me in a whisper the next day. 1 second. People were laughing and lifting their glasses. The next, a hush fell over the entire ballroom as Olivia strutted toward the stage. All right, everyone, she called out, her voice bright and sugary. It's time for the moment with my mother. Guests cheered. Someone shouted, open the gift. Olivia raised the wooden box above her head like it was a trophy. Ethan stood behind her, stiff and uneasy. He leaned in. Liv, maybe we should. Ethan, stop, she snapped, loud enough for people in the front rows to hear. It's just a box. He fell silent. Olivia set the box on the podium and flipped the latch with a dramatic flourish. The lid opened, and nothing happened. No music, no sentimental note, no joke for her audience. Just one page staring back at her. She picked it up slowly, expecting. I don't know what she expected. Whatever it was, she didn't get it. Her lips moved as she read the words aloud under her breath. You do not own me. A nervous laugh bubbled from someone in the crowd. Olivia blinked, confused. What is this? She muttered, flipping to the next page. She didn't notice the small USB drive resting in the corner until it blinked once and connected itself to the projector. The wall behind her lit up. The first slide appeared. Power of attorney draft, prepared without consent. Gasps rolled through the room. Olivia froze. Turn that off, she ordered, but her voice was too thin to reach anyone. Another slide mock intervention script written by Olivia Rowan Hayes. Her own handwriting filled the screen. The words make her sign on stage glowed 10 feet tall. A woman near the bar whispered, Dear God. Then came the financial statements, withdrawals, charges, the credit line. Every number matched her own business expenses. And then, the final blow, the group chat screenshots Noah had given me. Olivia's friend writing, Let's humiliate her a little. She won't fight with an audience. A sound tore out of Olivia, sharp and panicked. Cameras lifted all around the room, phones recording from every angle. No, stop, that is private, she screamed. Turn it off. Ethan stepped away from her, his hands raised, as if he didn't want to be caught in her shadow. Noah stood near the back, shoulders shaking, watching the mother he had tried so hard to believe in crumple under the weight of her own words. Olivia grabbed at the projector cord, but someone else yanked it from her. Not out of kindness, out of horror. The ballroom stayed silent long after the screen went black. Olivia called me the next morning before the sun was up. I stared at her name flashing on my screen, then let it ring out. A second later, her voice burst through voicemail shaky, furious, wounded. Mom, answer me. I know you're listening. You ruined everything. Do you understand everything? I didn't reply. By 9 o'clock, the video from the ballroom was everywhere. Clips of her shouting, the slides behind her, Noah's screenshots had all spread through Scottsdale faster than wildfire in July. People weren't gossiping. They were recoiling. I heard from Rosa first. Maggie. Her clients are dropping her like stones. Then from Claire, 3 corporate contracts terminated this morning. They're citing reputational risk. By noon, Ethan showed up at my door. He didn't step inside, just kept his hand pressed to the frame like he needed something steady to hold. I moved out. He said, my breath caught. Ethan, I can't stay with someone who can do that to her own mother, he whispered. And to Noah. He didn't cry, but the silence between his words sounded like grief. Later that afternoon, Noah came to see me too. He walked straight into my kitchen, dropped his backpack, and collapsed into my arms. I'm staying with Dad, he said into my shoulder. I can't talk to her. Not right now. I held him tighter. You don't have to. That evening, Olivia finally reached me through a blocked number. Her voice cracked. Mom, please help me. Everyone thinks I'm a monster. You know I was just stressed. You know how much pressure I've been under. I didn't speak. Claire sat beside me on speakerphone, calm and steady. Olivia kept going. If you don't defend me, people will think everything in that box was true. Claire leaned closer to the phone. It was true, Olivia, and none of it came from your mother. It came from your own actions. Olivia's tone turned sharp. This is your fault, Mom. You didn't have to destroy me. Claire cut in again, voice firm. Your son submitted evidence of emotional distress. Because of that, the Arizona Department of Child Welfare opened a review. The line went silent. When Olivia finally spoke, she sounded small. What? What review? A temporary removal of custodial authority. Claire said, and mandatory therapy. Your behavior crossed legal lines. Olivia, your mother didn't report you. Your own son's testimony triggered it. A soft, broken sound came through the phone, part disbelief, part pain. Noah did that, she whispered. He told the truth, I said quietly. Because you left him no choice. She didn't answer. The line clicked dead. I stared at the phone long after the call ended, feeling the weight of everything shifting Olivia's life cracking open. Noah finding his voice, and the strange, aching truth that I had never wanted revenge. Just honesty, just safety, just a place to stand without being forced to bow. But the consequences had found Olivia all the same. 4 months passed before I saw Olivia again. Life in Tucson settled into something soft, something I had not felt since before my husband died. Rosa came over for dinners, bringing tamales or gossip from down the street. I taught a small music class at the community center on Wednesdays, helping little ones hold their first notes on beat-up recorders. Noah visited every weekend, doing his homework at my kitchen table or helping me rearrange old photo albums. Every time he left, he hugged me a little tighter. During those months, Olivia sent letters, first angry ones, then defensive ones, and finally quiet, trembling apologies written in shaky handwriting that did not look like hers. Therapy had changed her voice. Her words no longer demanded. They reached. I read every letter, but I did not respond. One afternoon in early spring, as I watered my small row of rosemary bushes, I heard footsteps outside my gate. I looked up to see Olivia standing there, holding a folded letter against her chest. She looked smaller than I remembered. Mom, she said softly, can we talk? Her voice wasn't sharp anymore. It wasn't polished. It was tired. I walked toward the gate, but did not open it. You came a long way. She nodded. I finished the therapy program. They said I can apply for partial custody again, if Noah agrees. I waited. She unfolded the letter. I wrote something for you. It's not excuses. I think it's the truth. My truth. And I hope someday it's enough for you to want me back in your life. I saw her swallow hard. I know I can't undo what I did, but I'm trying to become someone I'm not ashamed of. The iron gate stood between us like a line drawn in careful chalk. I reached through the bars and touched her hand, gently. The door is closed, I said, but it isn't locked. Come back when you're someone you're proud of. Her breath caught. Tears spilled fast and without defense. She whispered, "Thank you," though she knew it was not forgiveness. Not yet. Olivia walked away step by step, crying quietly into the sleeve of her sweater. No audience. No spotlight. No mask. When she reached the end of the sidewalk, she turned once, then kept going. I closed the gate behind me and let the latch fall into place. For the first time in years, my chest felt open, light, steady. If you felt this story, leave a like, drop a comment, or hit subscribe so more people can find stories like this.